Hello, this is a video illustrating a MATLAB app that I made whose goal was to help explore some of the ideas, basically the algorithm behind row reduction. So you can see here that you have matrix. And these are just some ways that we're going to be able to generate random matrices. And this right here will allow you to restart and undo steps you've done. So let's just get an example. So let's choose number of rows and columns. So we have 3 rows, 4 columns, generate a random matrix. And we have a random matrix here. Matrix is not row reduce, and it's not in row reduce echelon form. So what we can do is we can apply the row reduction steps by just clicking these buttons here. So let's just illustrate that by saying, what would we actually do to do row reduction? So what we would do, we start with this 2 here, and we divide this whole row by 2. So what we would do is we take R1, and we replace it with R1 divided by 2. What would that be? That would be 1. That'd be negative 5/2. That would be negative 1. And that would be negative 5/2. So now let's do that row operation. And the way you do it is you click the entry of the row that you want to turn into 1 by dividing by that entry, and then click it again, and it'll normalize this entire row. So we see negative, we have 1 here, negative 5/2, negative 1, negative 5/2. And you can do that for any entry of the matrix. So you can do this one, or this one, maybe this one. So you can see how that works. I do want to mention that you can restart by clicking the restart button. It will go back to the original matrix you started with. If you wanted to undo, like, oh, I didn't want to do that one, let's undo. It'll undo that last step. Okay, so now suppose that we do that, we turn this into a 1. Now we want to use this 1 to clear out these 2 down here. So what would we do? How would we make this into a 0? Well, what we would do is we take our 2 and we replace it with R2 minus 2 times R1. So 2 copies of this subtracted from this. Now what is minus 2R1? Well, that would be minus 2 times 2 here. We would, minus 2, we would have negative 5. Or sorry, apologies, positive 5. Times negative 2 would be 2. Times negative 2 would be 5. So we would end up adding this to this row here. And so we would get 2 plus negative 2 is 0. Negative 2 plus 5 is 3. 2 plus 5 is 7. And negative 5 plus 5 is 0. So we would turn this into a 0. So this new row is going to be this row here. So let's do that operation. And the way you do it is you say, I'm going to use this entry, scale it up so that it cancels out this 2 here. So you get 0, 3, 7, 0. That's what we have here. Okay, so you can do the next operation step here. What we would do is we want to get this and we want to make this into a 0. So we would take row 3 and replace it with row 3 minus 3 row 1. So what is negative 3 row 1? So that'd be negative 3 up here. Times negative 3, that'd be 15/2. Negative 3 is going to be 3. And then again, 15/2. And we're going to add this to this row here. So it's going to be 3 plus negative 3 is 0. 3 plus 15 over 2. So we express 3 as 6 over 2 to help with the arithmetic. So it's going to be 6 over 2 plus 15 over 2. So it's going to be 21 over 2. 3 and negative 3 is 0. 0 and 15 over 2. So 15 over 2. So this is going to be our new row here. So we just click this one here. We'll use this one to clear this out here. So we get 0, 21 over 2, 0, 15 over 2. That's exactly what we have here. Okay, so what else would we do? So we have this pivot here, and there were zeros in the rest of the column, which is exactly what we want, this pivot. Now we want to turn this into a pivot, and then we'll use that to clear out these columns. So what we do is we take row 2, and we replace it with row 2 divided by 3. So it'd be 0, and then 1, then 7 over 3, and then 0. So we just click this, and we click it again. So that's our new row here. Now this is a pivot, but it's not quite a pivot because we have to clear everything out of here. That's what we want to be our pivot. So I don't think I need to write the next few steps. We'll just use the app. So basically we're going to use this. We'll clear out this. Use this to clear out this. Now we see it's row reduced. What that just means is we have this little step-like thing where our pivot is here. It's going to be our pivot, and it's going to help clear this out. So if we click this, turn this into a 1, and then we'll use it to clear these out. So now it's in row reduced echelon form. You see we have our pivots here. There's zeros in the columns here. So these are our pivot columns here. And this right here is just a not pivot column. And if our matrix, if this matrix that we came from, that we have, was coming from an augmented matrix, and maybe we were solving equations like this, AX plus BY plus CZ is equal to some constant D. We were solving equations like this, then this right here would be the X column, this would be the Y column, this would be the Z column, this would be the column of these numbers over here. So what would that mean? It'd be X is equal to this. Negative 50 over 49. Y is equal to 5/7. And Z is negative 15 over 49. So you can see from this example that you can do the row operations that we had. I do want to mention one other row operation we haven't done, which is at this, if you click these right here, what they'll do is they'll interchange the rows. So it's the other row operation we haven't used yet. See, it's no longer row reduced or in row reduced echelon form. You see it just interchanges the rows. This right here will undo the last step. This will restart. So that is the end of this example that I wanted to do here.